Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Have you found yourself holding on just a little bit too tightly to some of the plans that you are making? Having a plan, having it well laid out, making sure that you take all the steps, and then for some odd reason, it doesn't want to work out exactly the way that you wanted it to work out. I know the feeling. And I also know that some of my clients sit with exactly the same problem. That's why today we are looking at the understated art of surrendering and how we might be able to incorporate that into life and into our practice in order to, well, not hold so tightly, because that doesn't always work. You are also joining us here on USA Global TV and Radio in collaboration with all the other places that you will be finding us. And remember to also subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, as well as Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, so that you can always be on top of all the new episodes. And of course, go and watch all of the previous ones too. So, without further ado, let's jump into this topic for today. And, well, I have asked for guidance around surrendering, and the guidance I got around surrendering was to surrender. So I'm surrendering to the message. I have no idea what will be popping out of my mouth other than that it will be something, and hopefully something useful and helpful for you to hear as you are listening to this message. So the place that I would like to start today is just the general observation that I've had, not only for myself, but also for clients that I work with, where we have a tendency to really hold on very tightly to those reins. And whether this is us making a plan, having a goal, and then I'm not saying just going for the goal, but having it detailed, laid out, step by step. And there's nothing wrong with this approach. Don't get me wrong. We want to have a plan. We want to have a goal. We want to be working towards something. Right. And a lot of the time, because we also have this goal and the steps that we have worked very hard to work out, we then start to attach a lot of shoulding or expectation to that, either to the steps or to the goal or whatever it is that we are working on. And as soon as we start to attach those expectations that it has to work this way, that it needs to work exactly the way that I have thought it out or the way that I have in my own perception, that's when we start to hold on to the reins just a tad too tightly. So, as I mentioned, having the goal, having the steps, having a plan B even, that's all fine. The problem really comes in when we have a energetic attachment to the outcome and a preconceived notion of exactly how and where we want it to show up. So say, for instance, I want to, I don't know, earn more money. My intention or my goal is that I want to increase my income in some way. Now, I have a hair that's tickling my nose. It might be that I have a very clear idea of exactly how I plan on getting this income. I might be working already, and my expectation is I want to get a raise. Or I might have a business, and my expectation is that I have these prospects, and from one of those prospects, I will have some form of income coming in. So I have something that I want to achieve. My goal is some form of financial benefit. And I have very clear expectations of where I expect it to come from. Now, in general, it doesn't necessarily work this way. And I have found, not only with myself, but also with a variety of clients, that it doesn't work that way. Because the thing that we expect, the thing that we have attached this energetic, emotional holding on tightly to, tends to blow up in our face from time to time. And normally more often than not. Whereas when we start to not hold so tightly and just have a general sense of the thing, it does have a tendency to be able to flow and work itself out and then go in the direction that it makes most sense. And serendipitously, stuff starts to fall into place and things start to happen, and we don't need to work it out. So that's really in the art of surrendering and how we do this. Now, not so long ago, I had a wonderful session with somebody where I got to be a thinking partner as well as a thinker in our session. And during this thinking session, we literally got to explore a whole bunch of different things. But the thing that I took away from that specific session was this. It's almost like the rules of engagement of life, right? And I'm not talking about social constructs. I'm not talking about your belief system that you have currently about it has to work this specific way. If you think about murmurations of birds, so when birds murmurate, they make these big balls of flying birds that, for some odd reason, they manage never to bump into each other. They also make all sorts of different shapes that looks incredible, and we stand in absolute awe. Now, how do they do that? I mean, do they go up front and come together as a group of birds and go, no, we need to work this out exactly the way that we're going to fly. We need to choreograph it. And then once we've done that, we need to practice it a couple of times. And then once we've done that, then we can bring more of the group together and so on and so forth. No, they don't. That's not what they do. They have a couple of rules that they employ. And as long as they stick to those rules, they don't bump into each other. It's not a problem. And they can do whatever it is that they want to do, and they can go in the murmuration, any place they want to go into this murmuration. And it's adaptable, and it's flexible, and it's fluid. And that is what life is asking of us. Yes, it does want us to have a little bit of structure, right? Some things that can help guide us, but it doesn't need to be rigid. It doesn't need to be rigid. Of all the beings on this planet, I think human beings have the tendency to be the most rigid of all of them. I mean, look at the buildings we create. So when you think about your own approach, whether it be you as a leader, whether it be in your life in general, or whether it is where you interact with the rest of society, the world at large, what is those fundamental rules of engagement for you to be part of the murmuration of life? Now that was really the question that I came away with during my thinking time with my partner, was what is those rules? And one of the things that so far, and I'm not saying this is the only rules, and I'm also not saying this is the rules, these are just the ones that I have observed. So I'm inviting you to observe with me and let me know what it is that you see as you murmurate through life. What's the rules that you are noticing? Because we might all notice slightly different rules. The one rule I have noticed very, very prominently that makes a big difference to this murmuration is surrendering. If we hold on, and as a species, as a human system, we have a tendency to want to be very controlled because we want to know. We want to know the thing. We want to understand the thing. And my engineer brain absolutely get that. We want to understand how it works. We want to know what the structure is. We want to see the pattern, whatever the thing is. So we want to control, because if I know it, I know how to influence it, I know how to impact it. And as soon as I know that, I can actually move it in a direction that I want it to move, right? So it's intentionality. But have you ever thought about the fact that maybe control isn't the way to do this? Maybe control is actually the counter of doing this really well. It might be that in the past control worked for us a little bit because, well, let's face it, it has. But is that really the way that if we were to employ all of us, so the whole system of me and the whole system of you and the whole system of everybody else on this planet, we were to employ those systems fully, would control really be the thing that brings us the biggest benefit? I don't think so. I really don't. I haven't seen that. We have tried it. We have very many years of exploring how control can be helpful for us. I mean, we have governments that try it out on us. Have you ever been happy when somebody tells you what to do? Typically, no. No. Somebody comes to you and they try to force advice onto you, which either you're not ready for or you did not elicit. Do you enjoy it? No, you don't. I mean, even just getting normal feedback where I know that I'm going to get feedback feels a bit uncomfortable for most people. Okay, a lot uncomfortable for most people. So why would wanting to control us work? So it doesn't work for me. I know my system gets very upset when it is being controlled or somebody else is trying very hard to control it, right? So if I respond that way, why would the rest of the systems around me, i.e., the way that I create, the way that I think about doing specific things, whether it be goal setting or planning or whatever it would be, why would any of that respond well to control? I'm not saying not having a plan. I am also not saying not being prepared. But I am saying this innate energy that we have of control, it has not been shown, to me in any case, that it is 100% effective 100% of the time and bring out optimal possibilities, thriving possibilities. Yes, it can get us to a state, it can get us to a sort of mediocreness, but it does not bring out the potential that is there in life. It doesn't. Because one of the other things that control does is control has this horrible tendency to, well, it can only operate as far as I can think. And typically for most people, I can only think as far as something that I have experienced. So if I can't think beyond my own experience, I cannot control beyond that, which means I perpetuate more of what I have already experienced. Now, if you have been in a place where you haven't had great experiences, how do you then create something that isn't that? when you want to control, you're going to struggle. It's going to be really, 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 really difficult. And I've seen that. I've seen that with me. I've seen that with clients that I work with. Yet, as soon as we let go, as soon as we start to surrender, and this might sound like, what the hell, it's the easiest thing on the planet. I'll just let go. For some people, it's not too difficult. But for most of us, surrendering is almost the most difficult thing on the planet. Because now I have surrendered, immediately my thinking go, oh, well, I'm a small little boat in a big, big ocean. And if I surrender, I don't know if I'll ever survive. Right? How do I survive if I surrender? Forgetting that the thing that we are experiencing as an ocean is actually a womb, and we are safe, and it is okay. But we don't think about it that way because we see all this vastness, all this water, all this unfamiliarity, and then we get scared. And as soon as we get scared, we want to take back control because, damn, that's the only thing I have is control. But I can only control in the things that I've experienced before, which means my experience, for some odd reason, is telling me I'm in the middle of the ocean, although that's not really where I am. So if I control it like an ocean, which means I get more of the experience of an ocean. But when I surrender, I might get the experience of a womb, of nurturing, of everything trying to actually help me out. And then I can start to see the things that's trying to help me out. I can see the people reaching out and saying, hey, I'm here. Hey, I can give you resources. Or I have resources that we can share together. Or this is the way that we can work on this together. But before that, if I want to control it, I'm trying to do everything myself. Now, as a leader, this is extremely important that you realize that that's not why you are here. You are not here to try and do everything yourself. You are not even here to be the one that shines. That's not how leadership works. Leadership is one of those wonderful places where we can start to experiment and test out our ability to surrender. Now, again, I am not saying, remember, surrendering is not abdicating. So there's a big difference between the two. If I abdicate, I literally say, well, I'm just giving it all away. I'm not taking responsibility of any of my own actions. I am not taking responsibility of my own thoughts or my own decisions or anything that I'm doing. That's abdicating. I'm also not taking responsibility for anything that happens. Right? The way that I'm creating, I'm not even taking responsibility for that. And guess what? As a human being on this planet, with every thought that you have, you are constantly creating, whether it is good things or bad things, doesn't matter. You are continuously in the creator seat. You're never leaving it. It's always there. And yes, a decision not to do something is still a decision. So as a leader, one of the things that we start to experience, start to experiment with, is this sense of being able to surrender, not abdicate, surrender. So I still have a goal. I still have a plan. But I do not have a very tight, energetic grip on this is how it should happen. No. As soon as I hear myself shoulding things, I know I'm holding on too tightly. I need to let go. It's like, this is a possibility. This is one of many possibilities. It doesn't have to work this way. It can potentially work this way. The other thing that I've also noticed once we're surrendering is it gives everything, all the energy around us, more possibility to actually put in place the things that we need to have in place in order for us to move towards the thing that we want to move towards a lot faster. Because we aren't holding on to the reins anymore. I mean, if you think about a horse, riding a horse, and I don't know whether you have ever ridden a horse, but if you think about looking at a movie while they are riding a horse, what do they do when they want the horse to stop? Right? They rein it in. Yep, you pull it in. Right? You rein it in. There's a reason why it's called reining in a horse. Now, what happens in life when I hold on too tightly because I want to control it? I'm doing this, right? My whole physiology is pulling in, which means I am reining in life. I am reining in my team. And it's not necessarily a good thing. It doesn't necessarily stop bad things from happening. It might even make it worse. So when I'm surrendering, remember, if I'm riding a horse, right? Yes, I want to guide the horse where it needs to go. It has a head. It can think for itself. It knows where it's putting its own feet. It can see the terrain. So if I surrender to the horse and I trust the horse, that the horse would do what's best for it to stay upright, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. The horse can do it by itself. It knows how to do it. Why do we then want our team? We have people. They can think for themselves. They have brains. Well, most of them do. And when we treat them as such, they actually employ it too. They can work it out. What we need to do as leaders is we need to surrender it enough, give them space to actually work through whatever the thing is that they need to work through. Now, I'm not saying to give your most junior, very fresh out of school person the most advanced task to do, because, I mean, they don't have the skill set to do that. That's just being silly, right? That's me abdicating. Like, oh no, I'll just give any team member anything and they can go and sort it out themselves. No, that's you abdicating. I don't want you to abdicate, but I do want you to surrender, because your team member that is fresh out of the school and has just started work might not understand all the nuances of work, but I am sure that they have a pretty good sense of how PCs work. And they might give some of the other guys a bit of a run for their money when they need to put together a report or work on a new system or whatever the thing is that they need to do. So let them do that. You don't need to hold their hands while they are doing that. Might need to set up a few boundaries so that they work in a system and you can evaluate it to see, oh, yep, okay, we are good, right? We are not abdicating. We are helping you grow. But the rest of it, I'm hands off. Like, I'm surrendering this. Now, in life in general, that works the same way. I worked with a client not so long ago where we were looking at different ways potentially to find a different place of work, wanting to upskill themselves, wanting to do something else in life. And there was a couple of different things that we tried out. Now, there was a variety of different things. Did we expect any one of them to work? Well, we hoped so, but we didn't know which one would work. In the end, something came from left field. Totally unexpected, not even in our plan. And it worked out because there was this sense of surrendering. There was this practice of, okay, well, I've put the stuff in place that I need to put in place, and I'm just going to work on my own energetic alignment and make sure that I have more energy for the things that I want to do. And the ones that I feel is energy draining, I'm going to work on them so that they don't drain my energy anymore. And I won't abdicate, but maybe I'll delegate a couple of things. Maybe I will look at different ways of approaching them so that they feel enriching. And as soon as that happened, it's like magic. It feels like magic because we surrender. And then life has the opportunity to surprise us. People have the opportunity to surprise us. We can still be surprised, but we can only be surprised when we're surrendering. Because if we try to be surprised when we're controlling, we'll never be surprised, because nothing will ever work out exactly the way that we want it to work out. And guess what? The way that you have figured out it would work out or should look like or shouldn't look like, it's very much an internal expectation. It's something that you have decided for yourself, inside of yourself. And I know I'm very aware of the fact that I do this too, right? So you're not the only one. I'm with you, same boat. Remembering to surrender is a practice. It's like gratitude is a practice. It is a daily thing that we need to remind ourselves of, because it is very, very easy to fall into that trap of, oh, crikey, things are going wrong. My system is telling me I need to protect myself. Our systems are very strong. It wants to take care of us. And what happens as soon as my system senses a threat? It's like, no, we need to control this. We need to sort this thing out. And then guess what happens? We do this. We rein it in. And all the wonderful things that was on its way to us can't get to us, because now all of a sudden we've hunkered down. We are controlling. We pulled the horse back. It's like, no, we can't go any further. And we get to stand still. And of course, like with anything in life, movement, as long as we're moving, right, it stays in motion. Newton's law, anything in motion would stay in motion. So as soon as we've reined it in, as soon as we've stopped it, it takes a wee while before it goes into motion again, because it wants to stay at the state where it is. And that works regardless of what you think about. It is one of those murmurations. It works. So as you go into the rest of your week, the rest of your day, and you are creating, because we are all creating all of the time, what is your rules of engagement in order to murmurate with life, murmurate with those around you, murmurate with your team, and be able to remind yourself to potentially surrender more? Less control, not abdicate, surrender. So that life can start to surprise you, can start to bring things in that would delight you. And you can have a fuller experience of what it is to be on this planet, what it is to even thrive. Whether you are in leadership or whether you are at home or in a community where you are contributing, thriving and surrendering, to me in any case, has a tendency to complement each other and go hand in hand. So with that, if you are a leader and you want to step into leadership, or potentially you are already in leadership and you want to step up and find out how to be more human in your leadership and potentially even surrender more in your space, because as I said, this sounds really easy to do. Take it from me, not always the case. You are more than welcome to reach out to me either via my website, which is on screen there, Journey to the number 2 Discover, or alternatively, you can also find me on my email. So my email address is Mariska, Mariska, at Journey, JOURNEY, to the number 2 Discover, DISCOVER.com. Or alternatively, if, of course, you don't want to go to the website or email me, you are more than welcome to connect with me via LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, nice and easy, Mariska de Preez. Alternatively, you might see Mariska D. So if you have this on screen, that is my profile photo. And you are more than welcome to message me on LinkedIn, and we can start our conversation to see how you can also surrender more to life and potentially even your team in order for you to create more and be surprised with whatever thriving comes into your space. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.
People are searching for experts every day. Are they finding you, or are they finding someone else? Every day, professionals are building authority through media. We've already built the platform. USA Global TV and Radio. Over 14,000 shows streamed to over 60 countries. This isn't about becoming famous. It's about leverage, visibility, credibility, opportunity. One interview, one conversation, one show, repurposed into content, connection, and business growth. Most people assume hosting a TV show requires a studio, a production team, and a massive budget. Our television packages begin at $1,500 US per month. Professional production, global distribution, replay visibility, built for voices with something to say. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and if this resonates with you, we should talk. USA Global TV and Radio, all rights reserved. Contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.